land over time, and we don't even get that. So, in order.
Can you coordinate both our schedules? Yes, because she knows my schedule, but I'm in the summer, so that, oh, school is out.
Look at
Yeah,
it.
then close on next. It is 7:38. We now call to order the Historic Town of Eatonville Regular Council Meeting this Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. Mrs. King, would you please verify quorum?
Councilman Mack,
Here.
Councilman Randolph,
Here.
Councilman Daniels, Vice Mayor Washington, and Mayor Garber.
Here. Please stand for invocation by Reverend Critton, followed by pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you once again for the opportunity that you give us to live, move, and have our being, God. We thank you for this community of Edenville that you have placed us in to be stewards, God. We continue to lift it up before you, that you will continue to bless it and keep it. We thank you again for the administration and those that represent this community, the leadership that you have provided for this community. We pray that you continue to give them the wisdom and knowledge and understanding and the discernment and discretion to make decisions that will be beneficial to this community, that will bring glory to you and good to every resident. We thank you for each resident of this community, that you continue to let us live in unity and harmony with one another, that we will love one another and respect one another's personalities as well as properties. We again thank you for this town council meeting where we can be further educated and updated on the state and the welfare of this our community. We ask you to continue to bless again and keep it. We ask you these things in Jesus' name, that you be honored. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and there is one item being removed under the consent agenda. Item number 2 is not going to be presented to you today. So the approval of the agenda with the removal of item number 2. Is there anything else that should go on this agenda under the approval?
You mean to go on the agenda? Or
Anything that you might bring up in your comments? I just want to make
I
certain.
may bring up in my comment about item B. I don't think there's enough time.
Wait, okay, so this is just the approval of this agenda.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. So with the removal of item number 2, is there a motion?
I'm gonna move.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Can I say something?
Yes.
I was in class this week, the ethics class, and I know we had an issue about voting, that silent voting meaning yes. But under the Florida statute, 112.311, 112.313, and 112.343, your vote shall be recorded. Every present body that sits on this diocese board shall be recorded, not silence. So that's one thing we cleared up in the ethics class. And when you take it, if you haven't took it yet, you'll know that too. So I don't know if you guys went to that class or been in there yet, but I took it last week. So that's something I want to bring back to the diocese, that we must say yay, nay, or abstain. One of those 3 things. That's all I have for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. King, is there any citizen participation?
We do. We have Joyce Harvey.
I'm yielding my.
Building her minutes, and the next one is John Beecham.
Yes.
Yielding your minutes to Beecham.
Yes.
So that will give you 5.
Keep it on the clock. It's fun.
And first off, let me just say that the reason I'm here tonight is because I got a vision about 15 years ago from God that had things I wanted me to do. It's the only reason I'm here. And sometimes I ask myself, how in the world did I get in this room? How in the world did I get in here? And so God has laid this vision in my heart that just won't let it off. I also, like I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was talking about the impact that Edenville has made on Edgewater High School. The best athletes, valedictorians, salutatorians, all from this little small town called Edenville. So when I think about what happened today, and I know that we didn't get the museum, I just think that God showed up. That's what not only did he show up, but he protected us once again. Because that was a true force. And I believe because of those Edgewater students, those salutatorians, valedictorians, and everyday people, that we will always survive. Another 130 years is in the book, because we are Eatonville. We have civic pride. And I think when you hear me talking tonight, you want my voice where it is tonight, the civic pride. Only reason I'm here, I love everybody up there. I've hurt friends. I'm away from home, from my family, because I love Eatonville, and I believe that failure is not an option. And I'm not going to have. So if I say things that hurt your feelings, it's because God has laid it on my heart. It's not personal. So the first thing I want to talk about is conflict of interest. It came up tonight 3 or 4 times. It came up at a meeting today at the task force meeting. It comes up all the time. So conflict of interest is a situation in which a person or organization is involved in multiple interests, financial or otherwise, and serving one interest could involve working against another. And that must be revealed. So there's a conflict of interest, something you have to sustain yourself from that vote. Now, and Mayor Walker would tend to feet, because you work for the school board. I have employees too. I don't know what you go through, but there could be a conflict of interest because you might have an admonition to be a principal one day. I don't know, but it could affect your promotion. So you work in a position where you govern the town, your heart and your spirit, and also you have an employer. So that needs to be declared. I think towards Mac, he said that we can talk to him. He said that his wife worked for Baker and Berrios. I'm not saying that it would alter your decisions. Hear me clearly. I'm just saying that, and he pointed that out to us. I wouldn't have known that this guy was honest with me. And so we have some water that we're walking on, and that we just got to be careful. But I think as long as we know it's out on the table, with the community agreement that Julian talking about, those things work good together. This is only going to protect us, not hurt us, because I just feel like nothing but forward. Another thing that comes up to me, you can Google it, it's called Black for Participation. Marlon Bennett talks all the time. He gets here, he gets the last minute paperwork. Mr. Mack said last week he didn't have the paperwork in his file. That's been blocked from participation because he can't get up on it. He could have got the paperwork 2 days ago, 3 days ago, but he's getting it, so it doesn't allow him to make the correct decision. Doesn't allow, none of you guys had that paperwork last week. So to me, it was a little bit alarming. I think also the Tallahassee trip when the mayor and the Mr. President went up there, I think the town would wanted to go too, but we didn't know. I had to find out from the chamber that there was a meeting, and then we watched it on TV. Oh, that we may have some of us cheered you on, some of us didn't. However, we would like to go there, like St. Johns County, wanted to participate. When we had the swearing-in ceremony, we missed you, Mayor. You wasn't there. We didn't know you was on official duty. I don't think anyone in the audience did. We kept waiting for you to come up there, but you was negotiating with the school board at a school board meeting, but we feel like we was blocked from that participation. And then I'm gonna keep moving because I don't want this time. And then even the hunger for demolition property. I mean, like Karen Denton told me and Julian in a meeting that nobody showed up to those meetings. No one, but Mayor Cole was there, she said. He was the only one there, blocked from participation. And that's the problem, is that the town people get blocked from the participation. We're in it together. We're better together. And there's something about being black and proud. And we can't get ourselves in a situation, an Uncle Tom situation. I say that because that seems to be the word today. If you're looking at government, he has a lot of positive black leaders in key position that has become voiceless, no voice. And that's what I don't want to happen to the town of Eatonville. And the last thing I'm gonna talk about Julian Johnson. Me and Julian have conflicts too. And everywhere I go, someone's telling me about, hey, can I get the minutes?
You can get 1 minute.
Excuse me.
Can you add my 2, please, if you don't mind?
We're working together, folks. It's about Julian Johnson. I hear people talking about he's punching too hard, he's doing this too hard, he's talking so nasty. So I mean, this kid is 31 years old. We should be proud of him. We should be loving on him. Yeah, he may talk rough, he may whatever, but listen to this kid's writing. Look how intelligent he is. And he grew up here in this our hometown of Eatonville, could be our future mayor. All he wants to do is get it right. Let him punch hard. Let him express himself. Don't muzzle him. he'll learn, we can coach and counsel, but it doesn't mean because he's 31, hey, MLK died at 36, Jesus died at 36. Hey, this guy is in full thrive. Embrace him. Listen to him. Love him. But don't punish him. Don't punish this kid. This kid is giving us everything he got. And we should be proud to know that we have a 30-year-old. I got 6 kids. And I got a 33-year-old. He's not here. Someone's got kids too. But Julian Justice here, not getting paid for it, not one pin out of his pocket, and all we want to do is whip his butt. I'm just telling you that we have to embrace each other. We're all Black, whether you believe it or not. We started at a disadvantage, whether you believe it or not. All you gotta do is go home and look in the mirror and tell me what you see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's it.
Oh, I got 1 minute?
Okay.
I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public hearing.
We did have Nia Williams Brown, but did you want to come speak or?
I'll pass
She'll
it.
do her time. Wait, but you did officially yield your time,
Anytime.
But you didn't utilize it.
but you yielded it.
Oh, okay.
Look, I'll say, look,
Great opportunity for the next time. Thank you.
I'm just trying to get it right. I'm just
Yes, I
trying to get it.
appreciate it. Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, public hearing, approval of second reading of ordinance 2024-1, extending and or readopting the temporary moratorium. Mrs. King, would you read the preamble?
Yeah. Ordinance 2024-1, an ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, extending and or readopting the temporary moratorium on the issuance of building permits for new multi-family, mixed use and commercial developments for 180 days or 90 days after the adoption of the impact fee ordinance, whichever is earlier, providing for legislative findings, providing for the extended term, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing for an effective date.
You have first, if you give to Shepherd before, then I just second read.
No, this is, I did note from the minutes, that were before, that someone said, how do you extend something that is already expired? And that if that's still a question, the ordinance itself covers it by saying it's an extension or readoption of, or reenactment of, so we're covered either way.
Okay. This item is now open for public comment, if there are any. In 3, 2, and 1. Seeing that there are no public comments, the public comment period is now closed.
From the
Is
council.
that's the public, yes. So now I would like to go ahead and see if there is a motion, and then we can second it and go into discussion.
I think you need to vote first.
Just go. Is there a motion?
I move.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilwoman, did you have a question?
Yes. Okay, on this particular one, I really have some concerns because this has been open since what, about a year ago? Maybe a year, I would say.
Mhm.
So haven't been really given that much explanation as to why this has taken this long. I mean, it's taken a long time, over a year, to get this moratorium taken care of. So we don't have the person, Mr. Presley, whoever we contracted out with, is that the firm in St. Petersburg, or
Yes, the firm will be here next week.
they'll be here next week
Yes,
to do what?
to do the draft of the actual ordinance, of the actual impact fee recommendation. So staff have met with them and got their recommendations. They went over the information, and so we'll be here at the next meeting. They wanted to bring it, we wanted to bring it as a draft too. And in regards to your comment, again, the information that was needed for impact fee to get it going was not available. And it took, through the retention, getting information, trying to get everything together, staffing levels at the time when this was originally started. We did not have even a public works director at the time when we were doing that. And so trying to get the right staffing levels and the right people in place. And once that finally got going, we went right into budget season. The budget season with auditing was all done in that particular summer, fall, and that took some more time there. Then we started focusing back on that late November, which we discussed, when we realized it was getting close. Then that's when we actually put an all-out list for the team to proceed forward with, what you have today, or where we are today with the draft. We did run out of time on the current, timeframe from the first initial, ordinance, and that's why we are asking for the additional time to finalize that.
So how much time do they need in order to complete this?
Well, right now, we're at a stage where the draft is coming, and then it just takes, and Cliff, correct me if I'm wrong, now you have to actually adopt it, and once it's adopted through those 2 hearings, then it requires 90 days before implementation.
90 days for implementation. Okay, so that will put us around what month?
August.
August? Okay. Now, my expectations is this, we've been holding this for a long time. And this is funds that we have not been able to charge because this firm is taking all the time. Now, I know we say staff this, staff that, and whatever, but we haven't given the council enough information. And I just have questions of whether or not it's this firm that we're using, are they meeting our needs? It seems like they're not meeting our needs, and we can do better than this. I mean, we have wasted, all the things that have gone on, we have lost funds to this town, and this is costing us money. And I would say, you say around August, well, no later than August the 1st, they need to have an explanation here and have this completely done. That's what I would expect from them. And I would advise you that you need to, just kind of get with them and say, hey, we need to get this done. We cannot keep delaying this over and over and over again. This is really unacceptable. It really is. So, I expect better.
My question is this here, Mr. President. You said it'll be here next week?
I'm saying that we are ready for the next meeting, for the next town meeting. That will be the draft of the impact fees and the numbers that they have put together based off the information that we had to collect to get to them in order for them to do the stuff.
That's gonna consist of the readings that we have, correct?
That's after. Let me, can I help?
Sure.
Okay, so here's what should be the order of operations. If they've finished their study, they should be able to bring forward to you a recommendation. Here's based on our research, which should be in some sort of a report format, of the appropriate impact fees for transportation based on how many people you're gonna put in your development. Okay, so you're gonna have a 300 unit apartment complex. Here's how that translates in the mathematics. And there should be a transportation impact fee of X amount of dollars per unit. And if we're going to talk about wastewater fees, I don't even know if it's the same firm that is doing that study, but essentially this is what the expectation should be regarding the load on the system. This is how much it's going to cost to upgrade it or get it to the point where it can handle it. This translates to an ERU, or basically a unit of measurement of X, which turns into this amount of dollars per unit for development in this area. And then they break it down by both residential and commercial development. And so they go through the various categories. So the overall, here are the categories for which we think an impact fee should be charged. Here is the research that tells us what we think that impact fee should be per development unit, per X number of square feet of commercial use, or a floor area ratio, or whatever measure they're going to use. Once you have heard it, ask your questions about whether you think the numbers are right or wrong, or get comfortable with the numbers. And let's just say, for the sake of discussion, because I would really love if this were to happen, you look at the report and say, all these numbers look good. All this research seems supported. We want to go with it. The next step would be for me to take those fees, put them into an ordinance that establishes that from thenceforth, the impact fees for these will be blah, 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 based on the various categories that they tell us. I don't even know what the categories are going to be. Typically, there's a one for water, there's wastewater, there's, maybe there's Parks and Rec, maybe there's a transportation. I don't know what they're gonna say, because part of the study is to determine what makes sense in the community to have a fee for. And once those are all determined, we do the ordinance, and someone said 2 readings, yes, first reading, second reading being the public hearing. And as soon as that happens, if you were all to vote for it, or at least it passes by a sufficient vote, then the law says you cannot start charging the fees for another 90 days. So while the ordinance will have been adopted, if the moratorium ends before the 90 days, then people could come in and apply for development and never have to pay. That's why the moratorium is important, because what we're trying to avoid is a flood of applicants who get in under the wire and do not have to pay when we desperately need that money.
Absolutely.
And to be perfectly clear, you know, the loss of money is from the previous developments that have taken place, that we're missing, not from the current situation. I've asked our planner to actually look and see how many even requests we've had come in for. We've only had 4 since then. So the big, you know, impact that we missed is on the last 3 developments that were approved. And so just to be clear on that, but in regards to where we are today, the goal is now to push this to the point where we're covered. And of course, this ordinance is only intact until the hearing in 90 days pass, and which it could be what we're looking at is August at this point.
And I do think this, I think this should be made a point for you all, but for also anybody who happens to be listening in the community. The fact that we've only had 4 applications since, this does not concern me, because I can see, and I think you all can see, and I hope you all can see, the opportunity for growth here is tremendous. If we cannot continue to be behind the curve. If we get a Hungerford property, which I am definitely not going to quit on. I mean, you can fire me, but I'm not quitting on that one. That is by itself a transformative possibility for this town. But without impact fees, it's just going to be another burden.
I'm Ernie. Mr. Shepherd. I'm sorry. Mr. Shepherd. Sorry, Mr. President. Okay, Mr. President, can you do this, please? The firm that we're using. Can you have them to provide us a chronological time frame from the time that, from the beginning of their contract up to where we are now? And I don't mean just say, okay, I'll give it to you, and then you don't give it to me. Because I want to be able to see exactly the progress and, you know, what they have done up to now. Okay, that's number 1. Okay, the other thing I want to find out is that based upon their contract, because I don't have it with me, I don't really remember what was on it. Are there any costs or fees or charges or penalties that they pay for not having it done by a certain deadline in our contract?
In this particular contract, it was not a clause if they didn't have it in a certain time. And I'll stress it again. We did not have the information in the earlier part to give to them. So the start time we were already behind the start date even after the execution of it, because we did not have the information to give to them. And that's what we had to produce in order for them to actually start. And that's where we required the digging of records, the hiring of staff, getting the right people in the right places to make sure we had the right projections to even give them for the study. So I will produce the time frame of what it was projected in the scope, but I'll also make sure, you know, I just want to stress that for the council to understand, we were not in a place where when we even started that we probably should have started, because when I walked in the door, you know, this was the assumption that this information was readily available to give to start a study. That was not the case in what we walked into.
Okay, how soon will we be able to get the time frame, chronological order?
I will produce that. Give me a week. We'll get that to you by next Tuesday.
Okay, that's May 28th. I have it on my calendar.
Yes.
Council,
Thank you.
Council Washington. I mean, Vice Mayor.
Mr. President, what percentage of information they need? Are they at 90%, 95%?
They're definitely at 95%. And all that's going to be contingent on, once they give us those numbers, the projections, if the council's comfortable with moving forward to start and actually put it into the adoption phase of the ordinance.
So you're saying you pass this tonight?
All we're doing tonight yes, this is not the study, this is more so the moratorium.
So
This gives them time.
time, right, more time.
And to be clear, the study, remember, we started with a feasibility study, then we went to an actual study. The study, was for, general government, policing, recreation, transportation, but it did not cover water. That's a whole different, that's enterprise. We are doing a rate study with the Florida Rural Water Association right now. And Valerie, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about, they're about 30 days from from the draft for that as well.
Right.
So we're gonna be about the same time reviewing those rates as well, along with the impact fee rates suggested.
All right, so it has been moved and seconded, if we can go on. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, item number 2 is approval of the first reading of ordinance 2024-1. Camping on public property and right of way in the town of Eatonville. Ms. King, would you read the preamble?
This is correction 2024-2.
Oh, 2024-2.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-2, an ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, relating to the prohibition of certain conduct in public places, amending chapter 26, miscellaneous offenses of the town code to prohibit unauthorized camping on public property and rights of way, public nudity and indecent exposure, and public urination and defecation, providing for enforcement procedures and penalties, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
All right, thank you. Is there anything you want to add, Attorney Shepherd?
Nothing except that this, to reemphasize that which has been said, that this is not about penalizing or attempting to penalize homelessness. It is an attempt to help the community deal with the effects of homelessness on the community, essentially the symptoms, not the disease, so that we can, not inflict the day-to-day issues, the public urination, defecation, sleeping in parks and so forth. People don't feel comfortable to use a public park, those kinds of things, and make them where law enforcement has an ability to address those issues. And obviously, law enforcement is supposed to be trained, and I assume they are. I believe they are. I haven't talked to Chief Murray in de-escalation and all the things, because clearly a lot of these issues relate to mental health. And it's very difficult for all police departments, no matter where they are, to be police officers and mental health counselors and family law people and all the things that come into being a police officer that they see on a daily basis. But this gives them at least a tool to help them encourage cooperation from the homeless folks, and maybe give them an opportunity to not be taken to jail by complying with law. And again, this will ultimately go hand in hand with whatever programs we can get ourselves involved in to get them into shelters or help centers. I remember the name now, the center in Volusia County is called First Step Shelter. I don't know what we have here, but something like that, where we can work in tandem or in partnership with them is probably not a bad thing to explore.
Thank you. This item is now open for public comment.
I mean, I think like on the homeless situation, okay, sorry.
State your name, please.
John Beecham. We used to have this thing where we said in Edenville, we don't have homeless people, we just have people who don't want to go home. And that was quite natural, you have mom in the house, mad. But however, I think like the homeless situation, you gotta look at the whole picture. Most of the time, we put a law enforcement mentality on it, even in schools disciplining kids. Sometimes that doesn't work, doesn't cause an effect. The reason it's happening now in Edenville at a rapid rate is because of the motel. Because when the motel, when they sold it, we knew that this guy was gonna go 55 and up, whatever that process was. We didn't think about like, what's gonna happen to the people in the motel when he moves them out? We didn't consider that, or we should have had him consider that. We gotta consider that. It's not just here, it's downtown Orlando, and then we used to call it camping. They're homeless. We used to have $50 a week. Those guys paid $50 a week, $90 a week. The application process was, hey, Anthony, can I get a room tonight? Hey, yeah, but you pay me. No credit check, but that's just where it went, right? And so maybe we come up with a structure where we create some type of vehicle that can take care of those people in a way with some rules and regulations on like, this is a Sugar Shack house built by the town, population 30, 40, 50, whatever that may be. But here's the stipulations you have to do to live here, whether it be drug rehab, whether it be all those other things. But it's a deeper problem. The problem is cause and effect. And that's what happens if we would have created, and we're still gonna have to grow. If we create so many affordable homes out there on their property and the rate goes up and the tax goes up, because they will go, they have to go up because fire protection goes up, police go up, everything goes up, water and sewage, it just gets expensive. And so there's gonna be a cause and effect that it can happen in a big way again with some of our super seniors. Like, wouldn't it be terrible to see my mom 80 years old out on the street because she couldn't afford to live in her house? So we gotta look at this thing 360, and 360 is that why we need to interview these people. Why are you here? And how did you get here? Lakeside puts people out every day too and dump them too. What are we doing to talk to Lakeside and say, what are you doing with people when they discharge? Or you just let them out the front door, or you bust them back to their hometown? So it's a deeper issue, and that may be a job for a task force too, but that's what's causing it. It's not because someone chooses to be homeless, they're put in that position because we're not thinking about what do we, when we build this structure, where would these people go? Right? And if we don't know that answer, we say, well, it doesn't matter because we own the building. Well, they linger, and then that turns into violent stuff. Edenville has the lowest crime rate in Orange County. Lowest crime in Cinnamon County. It's the lowest. Chief would tell you that. I checked with Chef Lima. Chef Lima told me we had the lowest crime rate, and I think that's something to be proud of. I think we can get that, whatever that secret sauce is, but we gotta take care of people that are in need. But we got to figure out if we build this, where would those people go, right? So we might have our own top teller of Sugar Shack.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this issue?
Yeah, my suggestion is, look at potential partnerships with the churches. They have there's lots around the community. Someone in Orlando literally just, I think it's a family with a few hundreds of $1,000s, housed homeless people, over 200 homeless people, you know what I mean? Like, there are solutions right here within us. There's no reason to not fix this. We have a CRA, we have economic development dollars, we have things that we can utilize to fix the simple problems. Like, it doesn't take rocket science to help house people. It's not all about the money, but with us being the first self-governing Black incorporated municipality, like, let's utilize those powers to empower our current community, right? Like, we are the first to do this and everybody's watching us. Wouldn't you all want people to come here from other settlements and towns to look at the leadership and be like, this is what we did? You know what I mean? Like, that stuff is important, and it's the ball's in your court, you know, to make it happen. So potential partnerships with the churches, they have a lot of lots in Macedonia. I don't know if other churches do have it, but the churches are a big resource in the community. Let's get back to that.
Basically, 1 second, please say your name.
I'm Joyce. As we develop, it's only going to get worse. There are some people, because of economic circumstances, health, whatever, do not alter their home, don't have a place to live, and there's scarcity. There are some people that need to work on themselves, but we may be in a position through grants or whatever, through whatever available land we have, like Julian says with the churches, to assist some people. But it's only going to get worse, so it's something we have to start trying to address as soon as possible. Along with, nobody wants anybody dedicating in the yard. I get it. So that's very valid, but there are things that we can do, I think, together to make it a little better. Yes.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Rhonda Wilder, thank you for addressing this concern. It's growing in all communities. But one thing that I found about Edenville when I first moved here was that Edenville has a lot of things, housing restrictions. We can't have certain things in the communities that other communities do have. So maybe considering different housing options. ADUs, someone like Julian was saying about the $350,000 that helped 250 people get off the street, and that was right here in Orlando. Kissimmee is actually talking this week and last week about using the garages and making them into housing units for people to live in. We have to get with the program. We can't think about housing like we thought about it yesterday. People are living differently now. People get a one-bedroom apartment and put 5 people in one bedroom. So we have to think about different options for housing. Yeah, we're all comfortable in living in our single-family homes, but boarding homes are out there for a reason. ADUs are there for a reason. There's an ADU in a very nice house right next to the Franklin property. They built that ADU for their mom to live in, the people that own the Ancient Olive place. So people are considering different options for housing. We have to start thinking on those terms too. What is affordable housing? That's the biggest question out there now. What is affordable housing? $250,000 might be affordable for me, but your options might be 100,000. So what is affordable housing? Let's start thinking about things in this century. People are homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Get your chance to.
Please state your name.
Yes, my name is Ms. Brown, and I just wanted to inform you all before you make an ordinance that, I know he said, the lawyer, I apologize, stated that, this would not penalize homeless people, but it didn't give any details as to how they're being addressed, so if they choose not to move, are they being arrested, for not complying? And that just leaves another unique opportunity, I believe, for us to use our resources for us to be able to streamline people that are in need. So for instance, working with Aspire that you all have right here in Edenville, working with the different shelters around the area and providing that streamline before you give an ordinance that can possibly be left up for interpretation in the heat of the moment. So that gentrification is accelerated downtown and it moves further west. Edenville is prime real estate for those that are experiencing homelessness just due to the different enclaves, abandoned houses, the abandonment of Maitland in the back of Edenville. There are a lot of opportunities for those to hide out, but there's also opportunities for our leaders to provide infrastructure for those able bodies to be put to work. And I have good faith that you all will be able to accomplish that.
Thank you. Are there any other comments before we close out the hearing? Wait, this for public. Oh. Right, in 3, 2, and 1. The public comment period is now closed. Councilwoman.
Dear Brenda, do you mind if I ask our law enforcement officer about his views on the situation? Because he is out there every day and he spends this relationship with this type of community that we're facing. Would it be okay if you were to officer? Thank you.
Hearings, mayor, council, residents. It is a growing problem. There are people that we've known for a very long time that are out there, and we try to give them resources to these other places that can help. We don't try to just throw them in jail, but sometimes them being out there are crimes that are being committed that end up with them going to break into like abandoned houses or stealing things and doing things that we have to address. But there are also the lakeside, like you said, somebody mentioned about when they are released, they're just released back into the community in Eatonville, not back where they're from. Some of those people are from out of state, out of town, and they do bust them back to their locations. And some of them just hang out in Eatonville and become just a part of the community here. So we do, it's a growing concern. So we do like to, we tell the officers to try to offer resources first, because a lot of times, like I said, people are out here, it may be some mental health issues, it may be other things besides jail. Jail not the only solution for them. So we are trying to offer different resources for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I just think it's important that we are talking about the negative externalities of homelessness. There are many people that are homeless that will never break any law, not steal, not break in. But there are those that, if given an opportunity to do something better, I mean, they may not, and they're the decisions, and we do have to protect the general population here in the town. I think that's what this does.
And I'll say this, back in October, and Councilwoman and I talked about this back in October regarding a think tank that was done in Orlando, but it was for the region. And it discussed homelessness and efforts from short-term to mid-term to long-term approaches. One of the things I didn't really hear tonight was the mental illness that is attached to some of these individuals out there. So while you may provide a facility, if they refuse to go into facility, then there's still an issue there. And so there's been some connection to that. So finding those resources, such as Ms. Brown spoke of in regards to Aspire, and seeing how do we collaborate is going to be important. From the legal standpoint, our police chief has worked very hard with the staff to make sure we're working on the right de-escalation process for dealing with this. So this is not to start just going and removing people at this point. I think it's important that we give the education on it for the officers to understand how we wanted to approach it, and to make sure we're not just saying, oh, they've been sitting there a long time, now we're attacking them or removing them. This is probably going to be from those that are really abusing that ability to sit there or do more, whether it's the things that are mentioned in here. And again, just know that the whole well-being of this was for the residents, for the health, safety, as well as the peace in the community. And so it'll only be actually enacted upon if any of those items are found to be infractions.
There are no other questions? The part been moved and seconded, right?
No, it has.
No, it hasn't been moved or seconded.
Oh, all right. So is there a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2024, approve ordinance 2024-2?
The second with question.
It's been moved and seconded.
Yeah, two.
Okay, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Okay. I really feel that at this moment, there's so much involved in this. And there's so many components that this is a part of. And a lot of the social economic issues that everyone here had a social economic issue concerning this population that we have here in Eatonville. And I think much thought needs to go into maybe just critiquing this a little more, and maybe getting people involved that really want to be a part of the process, try to solve some of the problems that we're having with this. Because we may say, well, it's not our job as officials of the government to try to solve social and economic issues with individuals. Yeah, it is our responsibility, because what it does is that it results to crime and it results to other things. So we're here to try to make life better for our community. And we don't want to be to the point that we, like you had said earlier, to look like we're penalizing them for being in that condition. And I don't think that's our intent anyway. I mean, that was understood. But I think we need to give a little bit more time to try to look at it a little bit more. There's some other language in here about nudity and about breastfeeding, and it's just it kind of covers a little bit of everything. So I would like to get a little bit more community involved in their input about it. Other people, like some of the ministers involved at the churches, to see their spill on this, and also to get some other community leaders just trying to get different views. And also our law enforcement, for the chief and his staff to also review this ordinance to see whether or not this is something here that will be applicable based upon what they deal with on a day-by-day basis in our town. If you don't get law enforcement involved and code enforcement involved, we're going to continue to have the problems that we're having. So I'm saying not to have an ordinance or to have one, but we do need to have something in place for this. we're looking in the future. Maybe perhaps if we get the museum and thousands of people come here to this town, we don't want to wait until they come here and then we're dealing with this problem. We want to be able to have this problem already under our cover. So that way we can alleviate any problems that we may have in the future. So I think this is something that I would like to table this. This is an item here that I brought before council in the town, and I think we just need to table it and just look at it.
I couldn't agree more, Councilwoman, you know, after reviewing everything and just, you know, understanding the seriousness of homelessness in our community is something that is pretty detrimental at this time. And it's unfortunate that we have to deal with this, especially in our community, but it's a global thing. It's not just in Enfield. And I do see people that I actually went to high school with, even already elementary, and seeing the condition that they're living in, man, and it just breaks your heart. And me as a legislator, I want to make sure that we're doing everything resourcefully to go down the path of helping these people. You know what I'm saying? I know we got ordinance and we got particular things that we have in place to facilitate to the issue that is at hand, but I think, you know, a lot of people that are in situations like this, man, need more help than just going to jail. Like Attorney Shepherd said, you know, it's mechanism that, you know, we want to be able to help them out in any way possible to be able to get all the resources, because we got so many different resources within the town of Eatonville, like the churches. You got Wayne Dench down the street. You got a lot of organizations that will be willing to help in this particular situation that we're dealing with. So I'm definitely in favor, while we can get a better understanding in tabling this item, while we can look at all the logistics and, you know, have Chief and his staff, you know, kind of digest it. Mr. President, I know you've had an opportunity, you and I, to conversate about it, but I think, you know, moving forward with just making an irrational decision based off of something that's just in front of me is just irresponsible. And I want to, you know, go down the path of doing that, and that's going to be atrocious to this town, man. And we're at a real critical time right now. You know what I'm saying? And people don't have anywhere to go. So hopefully, with that being said, we can help these people that are out here on the street know where to go, resourcefully get somewhere to go, and perhaps, you know, be able to help them in any way possible. So that's my take on that. I'm with Councilwoman in terms of just tabling this item until we can really just look at it and take a better look at it.
Smith.
Yes, this is your document, this is what you, right, this is brought to the table. Okay, so yeah, this is a document, you want to table it, I support that because she brought it in front of us. But my main thing is that we need to go out to the churches. We need to go out to Spirit, Lakeside, whatever you can call it, and administration here in town of Eatonville. We need to find somebody in-house to hit this problem inside, so we can go out to the resources that everybody talked about. Where the resources at, it's not up here, we're not going to get resources. So do we hire somebody to go out and get resources, to talk to these churches, other companies to come and help us? So that's one thing we need to look at before we bring this back. If that's the case, I support what you want to do with your document.
Attorney Shepherd, you put this together, bits and pieces, and I know you probably had to cut and paste and whatever.
Well, what we were asked to do for your request is put together an ordinance on homelessness, which is why I made an effort to explain that you don't outlaw homelessness, but you can address the impacts of it. And if you look at what's on here in this paper, the primary thing it does is it deal with, I'm not homeless, but if I'm sleeping in your park in a tent, this is a problem. If I'm parking my car in your parking lot forever and living in my car, even though I'm not homeless, this is a problem. If I'm peeing in public, this is a problem. And so this addresses problems, and you don't necessarily have to be homeless to cause a problem. However, the other side of this equation is you want to have a heart, and the problem is trying to figure out where that line is. Let me give you some examples. Yes, I put this together, and it's based on what other communities have done that realize that they can't outlaw homelessness because that's not a crime. But these other things that I mentioned, every one of them is a crime.
Yes.
You know, vagrancy is a crime. That's nothing new. Urinating in public is a crime. Defecating in public, exposing yourself, and all of which, by the way, are symptoms of people who are just doing bad things, or also symptoms of people who have mental illness. So that's why the police job is so difficult, trying to figure out the difference between those two in the moment, particularly under the pressure of someone who's threatening and doing a whole lot of other things. So it's a problem. A tool for the police doesn't necessarily mean this is what the community wants overall. But the other side of that equation, and I think it's important to put it out there now, since you're going to have a discussion and it looks like you're going to go down that road. Let's suppose that you go talk to Wayne Dent, or you talk to any other potential sponsor who says, I got you. I'll put a homeless shelter in your community, my expense. I'll put it in. All you guys got to do is staff it and run it. Okay. And let's suppose we're willing to do that. And it'll house 50 people. How long do you think it will take for the town to get 50 new people looking to find housing in your new homeless shelter and come to you and create more of a problem than you have? That's why this is a complex matter. And most small cities, Ponce being an example, say, we don't have a place for them now. We'd rather contribute to people, places that are already existing, so that we don't bring more problems here. But this is the internal debate. This is the discussion. So that not every solution can be solved by, well, let's go get money and build a shelter, or let's do a job creation program, because the problems cover all of the things: joblessness, mental health, temporary economic homelessness because they're out of a job and haven't been able to catch a new one, or can't been able to catch a. There's all kinds of different reasons, and so this would never be a solution. This is a Band-Aid to try to help the community with a wound while it figures out what to do on the bigger scale. But that's the point. So yes, it was put together as an amalgamation of what other communities do to try to address these symptoms, effects, whatever you want to call it. But it's not going to cure the problem. It's just going to give law enforcement some tools.
With that being said, Mr. Shepherd, I'm gonna be brief. I can appreciate you being proactive about this situation with putting this, particular, ordinance together, which we appreciate, right? But I think, resourcefully, we need to do a better job as leaders up here, because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're the ones making the decisions.
Absolutely.
And I think, with that being said, we need to just dot our i's and cross our t's and good faith that we can come up with a better solution versus doing what we're doing now, right? But of course, we want to table it. Not saying that we're disagreeing with you, because I totally agree with you, but I think we need to do other things before resorting to this, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I definitely appreciate your legal advice on anything that you give us up here. Especially dealing with something of this magnitude right here, because I know how serious it is. And like you said, if you build it, it's gonna be other people coming, right? But I think, you know, resourcefully, we can go to another area and another different path before even doing that, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we reach out to Wayne Dench, we got other organizations there, not necessarily in Edenville, that would probably want to help. You know what I'm saying? I think we just, as a staff member, as a staff administration, reach out across the board.
This is a very complex problem. You will probably recall, you guys have all been in the community for a long time. In Orlando, now Orlando is about as blue and progressive a city as there is in Florida, right? We all know this.
Yeah.
What did they try to do in Eola Park? Outlaw feeding of the homeless, right? Why? Because nobody felt comfortable going to Eola Park because of assaults and various other things were going on, or the fear of them. So even in Orlando, they took steps that many, including me, thought that seems like an awful lot to say we're going to outlaw feeding homeless people. But that's why the problem multiplies. It becomes a snowball rolling downhill. And so I think studying it, getting input from the community, what's right for your community and how to address it, this is definitely not a solution at all. It is a tool. That's all it is.
If I can say this, if I can, Mayor. And listen, what you just said as far as like the laws that they're trying to do with, you know, trying to not feed the homeless. Listen, you got people that have never been in situations to where they needed food, or needed people, or needed resources, or needed someone to lay their head, or take a shower. Until you're in that situation,
You don't know.
you don't know. So my heart is pure when it comes to Edenville, being the oldest Black municipality in America. I've seen the conditions not just now. This has been going on for quite some time, you understand me? But it's just worsened over the years. And now what we're trying to do as a legislator is make sure that we're getting all the resources that we can get versus going against the, I totally don't want to go against the ordinance, right? But don't put the, cart before the horse, right? Let's make sure that we're doing everything in our power before we resort to this, okay? And by us having a discussion, I think we could potentially come up with some better, solution, to do something versus just going right to this. And I think what Ms. Councilwoman said, let's table it. It's not gonna kill us. It's not gonna hurt us to table it. So I think with that being said, I'm definitely in favor of tabling this item. I can't speak for anybody else, but, I'm definitely in favor for tabling this item until we can sit down and have a real discussion about it. Because I think the discussion needs to be had.
Is there, I thought there was a motion in a second though before, and if there is, then we gotta do something.
Yeah,
There is a motion in a second, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we all need to vote it down, so we
so,
can bring it back later, and then you can vote, move to table it.
and I just wanna say this, I mean, almost every other night, not every other night, but almost quite often in a week, we have an issue right out here in the corner. And I don't know if they're homeless or not homeless, but until I see the word homeless in this ordinance, and I do hear you. I do hear you about tabling it, but I just wanna speak my piece on it. Until I see the word homeless, I look at this as anyone doing any of these things. I don't know if they went out too late, got too wasted and decided they can't make it home, get out of their car and go on the side of the road. I don't want that happening. And this covers that as well, not just someone that is unhoused. And the idea of homelessness is not going to go away. But this does help us kind of contain or have some sort of avenue to deal with just the negative parts of anyone, not just those that are unhoused, but anyone. And we look at what it covers, it's not just those that don't have a home, it's anyone that decides to make these decisions.
I just feel like we need to be a little bit more strategic when dealing with this because we don't see homelessness on here. Maybe we need to consider, putting them.
Well, I don't want to say to that.
Well, not putting homelessness, but like,
About
you
homelessness.
gotta put something that's associated with, people that don't have anywhere to go, because like you just said, and you stated, people don't necessarily go home all the time. They might want to pull on the side of the road and just take a rest. You know how many times I've done that, traveling? So you're gonna penalize me for doing that?
That's not what it
So,
says.
but I know that, but I'm just saying though, this is the condition that we're under when you read this ordinance. You know what I'm saying? You're not including the homelessness in it. It's saying camping on public property, so what does that consist of? You know what I'm saying? It consists of a lot of different things if you ask me, but if I ask you, you may have a different. Just like you just stated. So I mean, listen, we're not gonna agree. We're gonna be able to, agree to not, we're gonna be able to disagree to agree that we don't see things in the same story. Okay, now, like I said, it can be easily voted up, down, and come back and table it. But my position on this particular item right here, this one, is to table it. I agree solely with Councilwoman Randolph on this particular item. Now, hopefully we can rectify, come up with some type of solution to get administration involved, right? To reach out, to all these different organizations or what have you, to better suit what we got in front of us. And I don't want to be here all night like it was last time.
So
And we can, just.
so are we rescinding our motion?
Well, take it.
Just want to bring up one thing, yeah. And Mr. Presley, the other day when I was here, what we can do as a town and as an individual is do something to help. I'll give you an example. I visit all those businesses down on the west end. I went to one of those employers, and I told him the situation that we're having with people not having a job. And I asked him, Mr. Presley was here, and also the chief was here last Friday. I met someone here. And I say, if you meet me at town hall, I asked the business owner. Tomorrow is the day that we're supposed to have an interview. One person that we consider as homeless, if we can hire somebody, have them get them back into employment. So that way they can be better. We can start out with one, you get one, you get one, you get one, you get one. That's 5 people. That's what I say, being effective. Talking doesn't mean anything to me. I'm all about showing action. At my church, I'm having an outdoor picnic. I had asked Mr. Presley about the Denton Johnson Center under the pavilion, but I said, you know what? This is a issue here that the church need to get involved. Gonna have a picnic. Mr. Julian had said, whatever I need, they would try to come together and get it so we can have a nice lunch. Little things like that would make people feel so much better and feel that they're needed in the community. And I'm gonna visit some other employers to see if we can get one person, start out with one person, and let's see what we can do to turn this community around.
Attorney Chappell, are there any county, without this ordinance, are there laws already for indecent exposure and all that?
There are laws, and the way that works is if you have nothing on the books, then and assuming the county ordinance is written this way, then the county ordinance would control and give the opportunity for officers to do some level of enforcement for whatever that is. I don't know.
Okay, so they go up under that. All right, so I'm gonna rescind the motion. If you wanna rescind your, I mean, whoever.
Yeah, I rescind my second.
I think Cliff was mentioning something else you had to vote.
Well, if they were under Robert's rules, yes, but as I've said, I hate Robert's rules for a lot of reasons, one of which is they're too freaking complicated. I don't know if you got to look up that word in the dictionary, but complicated definitely. The other one, maybe not so much. So if that's acceptable to the body, that's really all they care about, so the minutes can be correct. And if that's true, and then someone wants to bring forth a motion to the table, okay.
All right, is there a motion to table item?
I move.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right. Next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion? It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? None. Sorry, that wasn't a name. Council decisions, approval resolution. It was consent agenda. No, it was no name. No, none. Approval of resolution 2024-18, appointment of Toker chair. Someone give me a name.
I make a motion for Councilwoman Randolph. Chair.
All right, you have a name?
No, go right ahead.
Oh, okay, there is a motion, resolution 2024-18. Is there a motion to appoint Councilwoman Randolph as the Toker chair?
So.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
With question.
Oh, yes.
According to the bylaws, and listen, I don't want to be I promise you, but okay, I know in the past we've always went down, and I want this legal. I know CRA is not here, but legal, you're here. According to the bylaws within the grounds of the charter, which is the Bible to the community, right? The only thing from that is the short section. Now, are we able to move forward with making anyone besides the mayor the chair for the total?
There's nothing in the charter that requires the mayor to be chair of the.
Okay, thank you. So my second is on the floor. And you continue with.
It's been moved and seconded. Question, Vice Mayor.
My question is this here, back in the past, when we was doing the chairmanship of the TRA, it was said that the mayor should always be the chair. That's what some members said up on the diocese. So I don't know when that changes, but I still stick to that. So I don't support this nominee because I think that back then it was a different mayor at the time, but that's what it was saying, that let's keep the mayor as the chair of the CRA. So.
Okay, well.
That's what I stand with this here because that's what happened back in the past. So like I said, I don't support this nominee for the chair.
If I may, question also, I know Ms. Randolph, Councilwoman Randolph is actually the vice chair right now, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now by us not having a chair, because we don't have one at this point, what if we go in the direction of not picking a chair at all? Now, how would that work moving forward with her being the vice chair?
You wouldn't have a chair. And you would also have a problem with the bylaws as they're currently written, and I can explain why. Let me read to you what happens in the case of succession, so everybody's on the same page, okay? You might have seen a few emails this week discussing this topic, so I'm well versed in it, but I like to read directly from the document. The vice chair shall, and these are the words that you have to listen to, in the absence, disqualification, resignation, death, or disability of the chair, or at the chair's direction, exercise the functions of the chair. Okay, let's stop and go through each one of those. We know that Mr. Marlon Daniels did not die. We know he's not disabled. We know he did not resign. And we know he did not get disqualified. I'll explain what that means legally. The only one that you can argue about is an absence. Well, but an absence means someone who will return. For example, if I take a leave of absence, I'm coming back. If I'm absent from school, I'm coming back. In the context of what this document means, that's what the word absence means. Now, there's been an argument put forward, well, maybe he was disqualified, but that's not true either, because he is fully qualified to do the thing that he needs to do in order to be the CRA chair, and that's run for and become elected or get reappointed to the council. So for example, if one of you decided, I've had enough of this, I don't want to do it anymore, and there's an opening under the charter, the rest of you appoint to fill that vacancy. And there's nothing that would stop Mr. Marlon Daniels, because he's qualified to run for office, from filling that position. And once he's on this body, then he can become the CRA chair if that's what you all choose. So he's not disqualified. The disqualification happens when you've done an affirmative act, typically, that disqualifies you, such as you get, as for example, Ms. Hill did, get charged with a felony. And the government says you're disqualified, you're removed until you're tried and see what happens. Disqualified, you moved out of the town. You no longer qualify because you don't live here anymore. It turns out after research, you've been elected, but you are haven't been a resident long enough. Instead of being a resident for a year or whatever is required in the charter, you've only been a resident for 6 months. Those are disqualifying factors that would keep you from immediately being able to come back and run for office in the town. Okay, so disqualification is different than not having a specific qualification, that is being elected official in order to be the chair. So all of those things that are the modifiers of when the vice chair exercises the functions of the chair do not apply. Now, the argument has been made that, well, of all of those, the absence is the one that really should. Okay, but if you have to amend the document to make it so, it points out why there's a problem in the document. So what would happen? Well, somebody's got to run the meeting. And this is an issue which I haven't tried to research. Under the charter, it says that the mayor is essentially the head of your government and also of all the agencies and departments of the government. And the CRA is an agency. But I'm not saying that you would by de facto get to run those meetings, because I don't know, haven't researched that. But I'm also saying it makes sense if you look at it logically that, well, maybe the vice chair should at least run the meetings until there is a chair. But that isn't exactly what your bylaws provide for. So I don't have an answer. I'll be happy to get you one. I was hoping y'all would fill the position and solve the problem. But if you fill the position of chair, she's still the vice chair. That doesn't change. And if she happens to be moved up to chair, then the vice chair position is open and that needs to be filled. So that's kind of the way the thing works.
Now, who would be the vice chair?
You have to vote on that.
Okay, that'd be another vote. Now, okay, being that you said that right, and I know we've been in a position of not having a CRA meeting this past Thursday, or last Thursday, because we wasn't positioned with a chair, which was problematic, right? And it's still problematic at this time. Now, with me making my conviction on this, I would definitely want to go in a different direction, because I'm the one that was actually for having a independent board sit up here. Now, you know, I'm not so much on that now. So I think to keep the biasness out of it, we need to have someone that sits not particular as the mayor to actually run the other entity, which is the CRA, right? You can have a town without a CRA, but you can't have a CRA without a town.
That's true.
So with that being said, I think we need to take position on just carrying over with a different leadership in terms of the chair. Now, I don't have anything against, Mayor Gardner at all, right? But I don't want to sit here and be unbiased against anybody else taking that position and leading the, way with being the chair. I'm all about, opportunity to see what other resources we can come up with, and I know, this is the argument we had when I sat on this board before, with this same very thing. The mayor should always be the chair, but you told me, right, legally, your position neither here nor there. You don't really have a question, you don't really have an answer for me reference to if she, and it doesn't quite identify with the language.
If you don't fill the chair position, the one thing.
But we're gonna fill it, but I'm just going by what I was saying, because I'm the one that actually helped write that chart. You understand me? And I think we should have been a little bit more, strategic on making that language. And this is something we probably need to go ahead and revisit again too. And I know it's up to about 8 to 10 years when you can go and revise and, change whatever it is. And being that it's only an annual thing, I'm gonna push forward to make Miss Councilwoman Randolph the chair. That's gonna be my position. Now, especially being that it's nothing that we're doing illegal up here. It was something that you'll say, hey, you can't do that. I'm not going against that. I'm gonna be right down the line with you because I trust your instincts in giving me information. You understand? Especially for this community in this town. So my position is to move forward with the motions on the floor. Ms. Mayor Gardner put it on the floor. It's been moved and second. And my position is gonna be when she presented, so.
It's been moved in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Nay.
nay. So what do we do with,
So now you have the vice chair
Vice chair.
position that's open, and someone should make a
is
nomination.
there a nomination for the vice chair?
Don Williams.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a motion to appoint Donovan Williams as the vice chair of the TOC?
So moved.
We don't have a resolution or anything, but we'll just,
Yeah.
okay. So it's been moved and seconded that Donovan Williams be the vice chair of the TOC. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed.
No,
All right, so we have the chair as Councilwoman Randolph, vice chair as Donovan Williams. Mr. Preston.
I can't include
Excuse me.
you.
Can it just be quick because we're ready, very, yes.
Mr. Shepherd, this is about, Attorney Jackson, is he here? He must have gone.
I don't think he was here.
It was.
Is this a different item though? Can you cover it in your comments so we can get moving? Did you have comments coming up?
Well, why is it that it seems to be when I get ready to do something, I make a comment, you want to rush me? And I find that to be very often. I'm not finished talking yet, but I had asked if I can say something about the bylaws. Unless you want me to say it in my report, I'll do that in my report.
That's what I just asked you to do.
But
First bylaws of what, CRA?
no, I had a, that's why Mr. Jackson was here, just in case.
Let's discuss the bylaws of CRA.
No, I had a question about that I want to ask Mr. Shepherd.
Bylaws of what agency, town or the CRA?
No, the CRA bylaw.
Well, that's CRA minutes.
Yeah.
That's CRA minutes there. That's.
All right,
that's
so
all I wanna make sure.
I realize that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah.
I realize that, but I can't ask a question.
Well,
I
just
can't
letting you
ask a
know that
question.
we got to separate the two. That's
Well,
probably
it's
it.
separated too.
All right, wait, no, so that you said you'll cover it in your comments.
I'll cover it in
I'm
my
gonna
comments.
vote Mr. Preston,
This is
please.
what I can do in my comments. It's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to just kind of first thank the staff. As it sounds now, we've just received another task and those tasks are yet mounting up. And so we want to make sure we appreciate the staff members that are working very hard to find these solutions. You did receive information from me today regarding the night market option that has been presented through an application. Our planning department is working to make sure that's covered from that angle. But I do need some direction from council if you all are in favor of proceeding forward with the night market so we can address it, because there are some separations between the special event and what it can do, because right now you can only do two, have two special events, and this night market is looking to proceed once a month. While we do have some pros with it, everything would be great. It brings some vitality options, business, fresh produce, and other things that will come from it. We just need to have direction from council if you're in support of it moving forward. And then we can start addressing the legal items as well as making sure the planning and all of the scope of it is carried out properly. So just needed a quick direction from council for us to move forward with that. I did receive one email that I sent it over an email with more details with the application along with planning's comments on what needs to take place. So I just want to
Definitely favor of it, because I had an opportunity to see the email back, so.
I did get one response that was in favor of it.
I'll send you mine.
Okay.
Why night, why not day?
You can send your response.
I'll send you.
Yeah, and then the goal is, once I get that direction, I can have the meeting with the nonprofit that's looking.
My response is, anything going on good, Eatonville is good.
Yep, we've talked. Okay.
And then for me, I just wanted to go through the Chief Murray
Mhm.
and follow the procedures of the special events. I mean, any variations from that set. Yeah.
We have some ideas. I was talking with Tara about it and legal, so I think we can find a perfect resolution. I just wanted to make sure I had that clear direction from y'all to do that. Anyone else on that before I move from that?
No, a lot of cities doing that once a month, so.
Absolutely. And we can discuss how that, the parameters carry forward with that. In my other notes, as you, just real briefly, I want to cover the document I placed before you, which is the collaboration of trying to find some continuity with moving forward with the master plan. And so, as you know, we did meet with the individuals, the National Trust, Baker, as well as Polis. And the goal was to confirm what those areas of focus were and to make sure they were working together. And so you have that document of their roles. And now we've prepared a draft, as I sent over in my read file for you all, a draft for that to be moved forward. We need to have a community meeting, get that input to proceed forward with those dates and times of moving forward, where it requires engagement, where it requires community input, so we can start the master planning process. So that is taking place. We spoke about the impact fees. Solid waste, the RFP process will begin. You may start to receive requests or meeting requests from certain providers that are interested in coming into Eatonville. Just so you know, if you do receive information from them, you're welcome to talk. However, when the RFP process starts, you cannot have any communication with those vendors when the RFP process begins. That hasn't started yet. We'll make sure you all know that when that starts. And then we'll try to get that ordinance. We are currently with our providers through September 30th. The goal is to go ahead and have the RFP process, start the community engagement process that goes along with it, make sure we get the right provider, and then we'll work out the rates and so forth from that angle. Regarding the safety, we are working with the county. Public Works is working with the county on the West Kennedy widening project, and we have submitted some updates or requests to amend certain things within the parameters of the project that they're working on. Sidewalks, the length of the sidewalks, as well as the lighting that possibly would go in the tree, the shade and the bike go along that. So staff is working to submit those to the county to get their feedback on it, where we can move forward with that. We have started to receive some more engagement on some opportunities. As you know, there was an appropriation time period with Congressman Frost. We did submit the request. We did not win the broadband, but we submitted it back with appropriation dollars from Congressman Frost, so he did add it to his package for dollars for that, as well as for the improvements, overall improvements to West Kennedy, which was done through a conceptual some years back, and so we're working to formulate that. Last week, we did have some questions about our last meeting, we had some questions about the water cutoffs, and I have met with 2 community members with their concerns. I do have a 3rd meeting coming up tomorrow, so we'll address that some more. Regarding the trash pickup, I'll let Councilman talk about that in his comments with some opportunities to address some of the trash, bulk pickups for that. And I did have one more item on here, running down to my notes. The questions that came up about the parks and about cleaning the parks, the staff have went through and created an additional schedule to keep up with that. Of course, additional staff is definitely would help support that in a more sustainable way. However, we are working to make sure that the proper checkoffs are taking place for those parks. As you see now, the tennis courts being pressure washed and painted, and we're working to address some other area parks and some concerns with that. We are starting the process. We do have a couple of vacancies that may be coming opening. The public works assistant has put in her resignation, and so we'll be putting that out to the public along with the recreation director. You'll see that going live next week for the request for applicants for that, and then the one more drawing blank what it is development. And in regards to some of the community points of personal touch with that.
County clerk.
Thank you. The accounting clerk. Yes, because our current accounting clerk is retiring in July. And so we have drew up the information for that. So that'll be coming out soon. As far as the touch points of communication, we are working on currently, we use our door-to-door touch points. We use Instagram, Facebook, email blasts. We created a list of that. And then we also have flyers for events in the lobby available for the community to take advantage of those. Also, we do have Text.gov that's coming. I think we've already had folks start signing up for that. So as that becomes available and more used, we'll use that as an outlet. I do have one thing from the clerk, and then I don't have anything else with it.
And to piggyback on the Text.gov, the goal is to launch that June 1st. So for the next week and a half, we'll be doing some internal troubleshooting to make sure we know how to use the software and app. And then we will make that available to the public. We're pretty excited about that two-way interaction with the community. In addition to that, I am a part of the Florida Association of City Clerks, and every year I attend the Fall Academy where I'm working towards my CMC certification, and being a part of the Central East District. There's about 10 municipalities that's collaborating as a part of our project for our academy. And we will be doing Christmas in July, which is a toy drive. And every municipality in that district will be participating. I have a draft flyer here that I can provide to you tonight. And there is no cost to the town, but what it does, it shows our civic responsibility and our collaboration to assist children who are in the hospital by donating unwrapped toys, games, and clothing, and much more. Though the collection date will be June 1st through the June 30th. And what's being asked, once we make the donations, that we create a video footage that will be presented at the FACC Fall Academy. So it's a way to give back and show our community bond and our collaboration with the FACC. If anybody have any questions, feel free to ask or call me. I'll make sure you get a physical flyer tonight, and I'll also send that flyer to you. But I would love for the council to be a part of the video op for that, because as we present that in October, they'll be able to know who our leadership is, some of our, community, residents, as well as our staff.
Thank you. Is that it? That's right, Chuck.
I'll be brief. I just wanted to say, this is a disappointing night for us a little bit for the museum, because I firmly believe that we should have gotten it. I don't think there was a better candidate among the applicants. And what I wanted people to know who may be listening, you all probably know, I'm sure you've all seen our application. Our application was fantastic. It was professional. It was grade A all the way around. We did a lot of right things. And sometimes even when you do the right thing, you don't get the right result. Clearly, this would have been the right result. But I'm also a believer that when a door closes, another door opens. And that door is that Hunford property, and we're going to get that stuff. And that's all I got.
Thank you. So I'm gonna start the comments because I went ahead and piggyback. It is disappointing to get a no, but I believe that when one door closes, another door opens, and I also believe that we are still the best location for that museum. I will always believe that. And whatever else played into it, and it's still not over. So however that finishes, but that doesn't mean that we can't look at another path. We're still getting it done and having the best museum. I want to also thank the task force that put all that together, because there was a lot of work and commitment that went into that presentation. So I want to thank everyone that did work on that for the town, on behalf of the town. That's appreciated. I want to thank All Seasons Pools, because I'm looking forward to the pool being reopened this Saturday. And also hopefully everyone can come out to the State of the Town address on Friday at 6 p.m. I think we have a lot of great things happening in the town, and we're going in the right direction. Lieutenant Lampkin, thank you for the invitation Saturday for the service. Enjoyed hearing your mother speak. Thank you very much. And everyone have a safe trip. That's mine. Vice Mayor.
I'm piggyback to, about this museum. Like I said, it's not over yet because they gotta take a vote on it. So most likely shake some hands up there, might get it done. But this is the big week. This is a big weekend for Eatonville with Center Union. Reopening of the pool. I was there when it first was done. That'll mean I'm old, but I was there when they first cut ribbon for that. And yeah, I did support the pool because I want something better for my community, like a water solution where we have training for swim teams and even have a swim team at Eatonville. But again, that I was there when it first originated. I was there every day when it was building it almost. And so I will support. I will be there to support it because that's what you're supposed to do. Because you're not going to win every battle that you sit up here on, and I'm not going to put my head down that I didn't win this year. So I'll be there. Well, I might jump in. Just it's Saturday evening. After that, we have a nice jazz concert. It's called Stogies at Sunset here on the property. Everything we have done, if we met all the criteria for everything, so I don't need people out there calling the mayor saying we doing something illegal. We have officers on duty. We just got to finish paperwork with CEO. She was in here. The coordinator was here. She just left because she's going to another event tonight to promote. So she was going to speak about it early, but she got in here late. So look forward to this weekend, guys, and then you come out and enjoy yourself. Nice entertainment, jazz. We got Davey Stewart, jazz tasting, the saxophonist. We had Naomi Joey, another female saxophonist. And we have some Central Florida steppers participate. So good 4 hours entertainment from Town of Eatonville. You should bring hundreds. So that's all I had tonight. Everybody enjoy it.
Councilman Daniel.
Good evening. Boil water alert. I don't think, along with Vice Mayor, I don't think we got the call to rescind. Cause I saw the signs, but I was waiting for the call. I didn't check my phone. So we didn't get a call, and that was one of the stipulations that we were requiring. I thought maybe Text Glove would have been active too. I think I sent my number, hoping to find out something, because you do have a lot of residents asking, is it open? Drink water, can we do water? So, also the speed bumps. I think, Mr. Ryan Novak has been asking about those speed bumps. If we could just keep him in the loop and saying what we're gonna do. It is horrible on that street up on the back of Life Center. They're bad. Let's keep the Blue family in prayer with the heart attack of their matriarch. He's still in there, so let's just keep them in prayer. And also congrats to Councilwoman Randolph on your nomination. Now, just a couple of housekeeping information. Vice Mayor Washington stated something from Florida statute 112-3141, but it states that the voting should be made and it needs to be recorded. If you look at that and you go down to A, the only time that a recording should be made to the clerk or to the person keeping the minutes is when there's a conflict. Usually there's a conflict when this section is really talking about a voting conflict of saying something that you can benefit from: compensation, salary, pay, consideration, such as if I was doing, I work for Costco, if I were to vote for something for Costco, let's say if you were straight request and you do something for them that they benefit, then that's the voting conflict that we're talking about in section 112-3141. I had an opportunity to read it. And the participation part states that when you're being influenced by your decision by someone making an oral or written communication. So therefore, what I've been doing has been a known practice for years, and no one on this board has ever had a situation of saying no, because it's called something called deductive reasoning, where if you don't say yes on one and you say no on the other, then it's a no. But if you say no on the other, then it's a yes. It's called deductive reasoning. And that's what we've been going by here. No disrespect. It's just a practice that has been known and been accepted by this board. Also, Vice Mayor had a obligation, well, not obligation, no, Vice Mayor had not an obligation, he had an objection to the appointment of the chair. He stated that for years that the chair has always been the mayor. I don't think what Vice Mayor forgot was that I was the one that championed that. I was the one that championed that, to have the mayor to be the vice mayor, and then the vice mayor to be the vice chair and so forth. But come when Mayor Cole was in office, and let me see, who was nominated the chair at that time? Oh, that's right. It was Vice Mayor Washington. You can go back and check the records. So I don't see how it could be you have a problem with it now, but back in the day when you had an opportunity to make Mayor Cole to be the chairman of the board, you didn't. Instead, you accepted it and you became the chairman of the CRA. That lets me know that sometimes when you try to put things on and you put it on the board and say, you know, let's just stand forward on what we believe in and let's just keep doing it. It was a slap in the face to me, because I felt like that was the right thing to do. And at that time, Mayor Mount and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I thought it was the right thing to do. And I thought I was setting a standard that this board would follow. But apparently at that particular time, Vice Mayor Washington didn't want to adhere to that. And he became the chairman of the CRA board. I just want to just put those things out as just history, and, you know, just put it out there that people would know that it's a method to the madness in a sense. So you guys have a good evening and be safe.
Councilwoman Randolph.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things here. I'm gonna make this very quickly. The pool fencing. There's a lot of community talk about the safety situation, concerns about the pool, about the fence. One fence is, I think at the tennis court is much higher, and the other one is kind of touches me here. Is there any plans to do any corrections?
There is plans for correction on it. Right now, that meets the code of what it is now, but I have already talked with staff about seeing what the difference on the cost to put a larger fence of that size, maybe a 6 foot or better there for the protection of that. So staff is working on that cost estimate with our providers, but we would have to pay that cost. No, this is for the one you see on, or you can't see it on the screen, it's on the screen behind me. the metal fence that we placed up on the.
You want it higher?
The concern is that it's low and that you may have folks trying to, jump across.
Which makes sense.
Hold on, no.
And we have. As
We
kids.
jumped the tall fence when I was young. I'll be honest with you. You'd sneak in the pool back in the day. We jumped the tall fence. But most fences, update pools have this size fences.
And that's what just for clarity for the council, that's why that was done. That's a standard. However, one of the concerns was that the height may allow more to jump. If we at least raise it higher, it may be a little more preventative. So we're working out what that cost difference is right now. But just so council knows, along those same lines, we do have a security system there that is being monitored by our police department, and we'll continue to do it. But our goal is to put a larger fence there.
Like a prison, pool like a prison pool.
Just real quick for Vice Mayor of Washington, we jumped on the side where the pool room was, remember?
You know.
Yeah, so we didn't jump the big fence, it was on the side of the pool, we got short fence.
We gotta get on the pool though.
Yeah, you're right, we didn't jump it though.
Go ahead, Councilman. Yes. But it has been addressed.
I'm so happy that everybody's so excited about the pool. Yeah, but yeah, this is usually the size fence I have seen. I drove to, I think it was Leesburg, some places like that, in Lake County is my home. And they have this size here. Now, my only question about it is the safety when an officer's not around. Because you know, kids are very curious about things. On a Saturday night, officers will be patrolling around. Before you know it, you got kids over there in the pool at night.
We got cameras, it's camera.
Just because there's cameras there, that doesn't mean that an officer won't be there immediately. But I mean, you just have to have signage and things right there to risking, lessening the liability. Okay, the next one is about, I'm sorry about the museum. Is this a real go? Like we didn't get it?
Well, they voted today 5-4, but I was told by Ms. Walker, I believe, am I right?
Feasibility.
Yeah, that there may be a feasibility study, so there might be something else.
There's a boat coming up.
Let's just say this, I wouldn't mind continuing to pray about it.
Yeah,
How about that?
okay, that's good, all right, I accept that. Okay, the next one, Mr. President, is the budget. When we do the budget this time, is there any way that we can get the whole entire budget for the town rather than getting pieces and bits? Or is there a reason why we're getting portions of it at a time, or how is that gonna work?
I'm not sure. I thought we gave the entire budget. We went through the entire budget last time.
I mean, for the upcoming year.
I know, but I'm saying different. I guess I'm just trying to understand what we need to do differently, because you did have the entire budget last time.
So, Ms. Gibson, and then you can let Councilwoman know what to expect.
Okay, yeah, I'll set up something to confirm exactly what more you would like to see with that included.
So what we receive at the last meeting, that's the whole entire budget for the upcoming year? No.
So, yeah. What else do you have? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I know, we wanna.
I will follow up with you and we can confirm exactly what additional items besides that. But we'll make sure it's in the workshop as well as at the end, but we'll make sure you have the entire budget.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna hurry. I think that's basically all. Yeah.
I thought you, when you said next, I thought you was.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry. This is gonna be quick. This here is a picture on Bethune Drive. Okay, and there was an oil spill from the city of Maitland when they were doing the street. That is a very bad, ugly oil stain.
Yeah, it was a hydraulic leak
Yes.
from the sweeper. And of course, according to the standards, what you normally have to do is put the grates down to kind of absorb all of that was there as much as you can, but it does leave the stain. Upon it being brought to our attention by Councilwoman and Public Works mentioned it when they came in that morning as well. We reached out to the city of Maitland and they did, I think I sent you a response on that they did notify that it was theirs and they were taking the corrective measures. Now, one of the things I did mention back to the city of Maitland, hey, in the future, if that happens, please, let us know or give us some heads up to our Public Works Department. So, we can make sure the proper measures and we follow up on it. And so that's what we're doing for,
What are we doing to clean that up?
So the cleaning measures are a little different. So, and I can tell you only because I worked in Public Works, the aggregates, when you wet them, that's gonna leave the stain. But the absorbent has taken care of any of the leak that's there, that's visible or that's still there. Now, as far as the coloring, I'll have to look into what options can be done, but the stain, the absorbent of those oils have been taken up. It's just a stain that's left there.
Mr. President, all things been taken up. See where that young man is standing?
Mhm.
They only pour those granule things right there in that spot, that whole line
They
there.
didn't do the rest of
None of that was touched.
I can
And when it rains or goes down the side of the
Okay.
street to the drain, so it's going into our water.
I'll confirm they did do a report on it, and I've
I was
seen.
there.
Yeah, I'm saying the city of Maitland did a report on it, so I will review the report and tell them what measures, make sure they followed all the corrective measures. And if they didn't, they'll be responsible for taking care of that.
Okay.
Decrease.
Is there anything else?
That might be the last one. If I got any more, I'll just do it when I come back. And that was just basically just to show everyone that the police was not chasing a car. There's just something there to protect that home. Is that correct, officer?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people thought maybe it was a chase from the police.
No.
That's the only reason why I put that there.
No,
No, that was.
it wasn't a police chase, it was an accident where the driver hydroplaned into the property.
All right, Councilman.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree more with Attorney Shepherd with being a sad day. You know, I've actually had an opportunity to be there for the meeting. I wasn't there physically, but I heard everything on Zoom, and it was a bit disappointing. But I know when one door closed, another one opens. So I couldn't agree with you more on that. And also, I would like to thank everybody that actually went down there. You know, I heard a lot of great voices today. One of them being representative for Congressman Frost. You know, for her to be there, and the letter that she read was, oh my gosh, how do you not get it right? But also Representative Anton, Mayor Gardner, I appreciate your voice this afternoon. You did a great job and just fighting for us, you know. And also Miss Angela Johnson, Miss Jordan, and Miss Candace. You guys did sensational. If you're hearing me, you really
o'clock. They won't be back until 11.
yeah, but they did a sensational job, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, I would like to thank Mr. President and his staff for just doing a diligent job and, you know, making sure that, we're doing everything in our power to make sure that we're being transparent. So thank you. I know last time we had a meeting, it wasn't so good, but like I said, though, since then, man, we've been, you know, doing things, that really make sense for the town. And I really appreciate your efforts that you put in, especially with your staff also. So thank you guys so much for everything. And I would also like to you know, acknowledge Ms. Shannon. I know she's already, but good luck to her on tonight. I don't know exactly what the results are.
Runoff. She's in a runoff. She's
So
she
good
was
luck
the
to
top
her.
vote getter.
Good luck to her with that. And I'm not finished. I'm almost finished, guys. And also congratulations to all the graduates. I know we're in graduation season now. All the elementary, high school, colleges, anybody that's taking the trade up. And especially my nephew, I had an opportunity to go to South Carolina this past weekend and watch my nephew walk across that tarmac as a Marine. You know, I don't know if anybody ever had an opportunity to watch anybody that they know that they love dearly walk across that tarmac as a soldier is the best feeling in the world. So congratulations to you, nephew. Love you. Jakeevius Mack. So I'm pretty excited about the opening of the pool. I may dive in also, Vice Mayor. But it's gonna be exciting for the kids. I know I've been sharing the information once Evil. You guys doing a great job with, you know, sharing it on the website. That way we can know exactly what's going on in the community. And thank you guys so much for doing that. And this is for legal. Do we have any litigations or lawsuits against us at this time?
If there are, they're defended by Insurance Defense Council. I'm not aware. You'd have to answer that question. I'm not defending any.
Correct. Right now, we do have one from a accident with the police officer, rear end. We also had a trip and fall on one of our sidewalks that we have for that's been handled there. And then, of course, Development submitted their litigation papers from the funding and the process that took place some years back.
Do we know whether the insurance is taking it or not?
They have stated that they are taking it, and I'm waiting on some more details to proceed forward. But right now, it's in the early stages of their reviews, and they have to give a response. And then once I have that, it's not be more than happy to share that with council.
Okay, great. I only got two more things. The one being, I think it's a very serious situation. Well, not really, but I know a lot of people have been in contact with Ms. Chelsea Nelson. She's no longer with, the company that, provides the help with trying to get people into Echoes, the apartments down the street. So, if you guys are interested, yeah, she's no longer, if anybody that's interested in, trying to get into those apartments, you can contact me. I'll be able to assist you and, point you in the right direction. And also lastly, with Julian, Johnson, I got tons of respect for this young man. I do like what he's doing in the community. I appreciate everything that he brings to the table in terms of just leadership. And I know he's young, you know, my oldest is 32, and I think he's about the same age. So I get it. And I do respect his mind, I respect his personality, and I just don't want him to think that I'm doing anything that would be undermining him. So if he's listening, listen, I'm here for you. And there's never been anything that you brought to me that I disagree with. And if I do, I'll let you know, and I'll also discuss it with you. But moving forward, hopefully we can have a great discussion on the matter that we're dealing with him. And, hopefully we can go down the direction of, facilitating something that will make sense for the community, because we gotta make sure that we're, successful and doing everything in our might to make sure that we're doing everything for the betterment of this community at all times, not sometimes. And that's why a lot of times I feel like I have to table things, but at the same time, thank you, Julian, Johnson, for your, efforts and everything that you bring to the town, man. And, if all minds are clear, that's my report.
All right, that being said, it is 9:25. The motion to adjourn. It's been moved for a second, moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. 9:25, you're.
Attorney Shepherd,
Yes, ma'am.
I did, yeah. I don't have to talk about it.
I did forget to mention the. No, that's. Sorry,
Now, there are some.
Okay, now.
Attorney Jackson. The only reason why I'm looking was, there's some provisions to the bylaw that he's bringing. What it is that he got a snare, a snare in this place. That's what I think, this thing about chair and vice chair.